Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name is Bob, I'll be your host. And in this video, we're going to talk about some inspiration for your tabletop role-playing games, particularly your horror role-playing games. Now, I put a video like this together before in the past, and we looked at fantasy films and stuff to inspire your fantasy tabletop role-playing games. We're going to do the same thing here. Same rule applies. If it has a dedicated game to it, it's not going to be included on the list. So there's not going to be any Evil Dead on this list because there is an Army of Darkness role-playing game, which is the third entry to the Evil Dead series, thereby disqualifying the Evil Dead. Can't do Walking Dead because there is a tabletop role-playing game for The Walking Dead, so it's not going to be on this list either. So I've got 5 movies. I try to keep my list kind of short. And they're not, some of them aren't great movies, others are classics. So let's take a look. The first movie on my list is a vampire movie. It's called Midnight Kiss. Came out in 1993. It's rated R and it's about 85 minutes long. Now, this isn't a great movie, but it's really good at capturing that moment in time for vampires in the 90s. And you could very easily run this type of story in a Vampire the Masquerade game, or Vampire the Requiem, or even Blood Dark Thirst. And what the movie's about is you got this police detective that's following these crime scenes of a serial killer who turns out to be a vampire on his bloody pub crawl through town, drinking everybody dry and leaving the corpses behind. And she gets turned into a vampire, and the movie is her trying to find her way without hurting anybody and get turned back. And the movie has these rules to make it so it can have a happy ending, and I'm not big on happy endings. But anyway, I kind of like the film. It seemed to always be playing on Cinemax every time we were getting together to play Vampire at the time. So, bonus, I guess. Anyway, our next movie is called Demons. And it came out in 1985. It's not rated. And it's about 88 minutes long. This movie, it's about this lost film that winds up getting found, and they're showing it for free at this theater to celebrate it being found because it's a big deal in the community, I guess. And while it's showing, things happen and these demons come out and they start infecting everybody else, and everybody's trapped in the theater with them. And it's kind of like a zombie outbreak, so you could do it like a zombie game, and where everybody's infected and trying to get away and trying not to let the zombies get out, or in this case, demons. And it's a pretty gory movie. If you're into that, it's really gory. I'm into it. But it at the end of the movie, it shows what can happen if these things actually got out and stuff. And it's pretty good. There's several sequels to this movie. I think there's like 4 sequels. The second one is directed by the same director, and his direct sequel, kind of, sort of. It's a little confusing. Everything after that was basically movies they made and just slapped on Demons whatever, Demons 3, Demons 4, and try to sell it as part of the franchise. But there is actually a third movie to it. It's called The Church. It's not really the third movie, but a lot of people consider it the third movie. So there's that. The next movie on our list is a classic, Phantasm. And it came out in 1979, is rated R, and is about 89 minutes long. This movie is weird. It is creepy. Doesn't make a lot of sense. It's about this boy, and he stumbles across some weird goings on at the funeral parlor, ran by a guy referred to as the Tall Man. And the more he looks into it, the more creepy supernatural stuff he finds, and the more the Tall Man comes after him. And this movie is definitely something you should check out. And if you could convey these kind of tones to your characters, to your players, these type of feels, be very creepy for your games. And the movie's got like 4 sequels. There's like 5 in total, and they get weirder as they go. And each movie does a completely different thing, but it's still tied to what came before. And in some cases, there's like decades between movies. And I don't mean just in universe. I mean the sequel was made decades later. But the only problem with the sequels is they did get more low budget as they went along. But they are some very interesting films and can give you some really weird inspirations for your horror tabletop role-playing games. The next movie on our list is for the sci-fi fans. It's called Event Horizon. It came out in 1997. It's rated R and is about 96 minutes long. It originally was going to be much, much longer and a much, much better movie. But studio corporate heads who think they know more than everybody else came in and said, cut it out. We don't want this rating. We want a lower rating. And so they cut out like a half hour of the movie, and so they can get the rated R rating. They didn't want to go with the not rated. They wanted an actual rating. So if the movie feels like there are bits missing, it's because there are. Now, what it's about is the humans find a way to get around faster than light travel. They call it folding technology. And they equip this ship with this technology called the Event Horizon. And they send it out. It disappears. Everything's going to plan. The only thing is, it never comes back. And then months later, out of the blue, it comes back. And there's no radio contact, complete silence from the ship. So they send a crew out there to find out what's going on, and they awaken the evil that this ship went through. And a lot of people describe this movie as kind of like Hellraiser in space, but done a lot better than the 4th Hellraiser movie. Anyway, it's a pretty strange film. If you want to run a sci-fi horror game, this would be a good place for you to look to get some ideas. And the last movie on my list is also a classic. It's called In the Mouth of Madness by John Carpenter. And it came out in 1994. It's rated R, and it's 95 minutes long. If you're running a Call of Cthulhu game or a game based somewhere in the Lovecraftian mythos, the Cthulhu mythos, this would be a good place to look, a good movie to watch, because it does that. But it does its own thing. It doesn't repeat the Lovecraft stories, but it does a really good job at giving it all that kind of feel. And if you're looking for some neat ideas for your Lovecraftian style games without regurgitating the same Lovecraft ideas over and over, but you want that feel, this would be a good place to look. So that's my list. There is a lot more horror movies I could add to this list. And if you want to hear about more of them, just let me know in the comments and I'll make another horror list, which I probably will do anyway at some point. And I'll probably do a sci-fi list soon. So anyway, thank you for joining me at my ramblings, and hopefully you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.